This module is dedicated to AAI's command line interface. At some point, administrators will run into specific needs for which the CLI is better suited. You may need to script some routines to automate or fast-track certain procedures, like the creation of domain users. We're not going to do a deep dive into command language, since this type of education isn't really conducive to learning programming. You'll be better served by simply referring back to the documentation. But we do want users to get some exposure to coding in AAI so that you're at least aware of it and you can get started. We'll look at the various components of the language with the understanding that CLI can be submitted either interactively on the prompt or by ways of batch scripts. This makes it possible for administrators to either log into the AAI server and interact directly with the database, or write complete scripts and submit them on the prompts, or even by ways of the scheduler. The course covers the main groups of functions and the objects that are impacted by the CLI. You'll be able to manage users, job streams, domains, business areas, and much more. We'll also consider the tools and syntax for the submission and parsing of arguments. The AAI CLI is usable from any host, local or remote, by simply accessing the AAI server, which submits the queries to the database. You just have to specify the host, port, and login information. The base technology of CLI is Python, and we strongly recommend familiarizing yourself with the language if you're looking to make extensive use of AAI coding. If you don't feel like learning Python at a basic level, you'll still be able to use many of the features. The CLI can be used in two ways. The first is the interactive mode, which lets you connect via live prompts and submit commands directly to the system. The other mode is batch, which lets you execute scripts. For basic commands, interactive is fine. But if you need to build more sophisticated routines, then you'll write scripts and submit them manually or even via the scheduler. These routines can blend AAI and Python logic so that you can deploy various methods like loops and more. In order to submit commands, we rely on utilities packaged with AAI. Depending on the approach, the syntax varies, and so we'll describe all the options. In the case of interactive mode, the utility sets up the environment for AAI's programming language, so there won't be the need to load variables or anything else. AAI scripts have certain constants. Generally, you'll need to import the sys module, then import the AAI JAWS module and log in. We're going to show how this works. Finally, please note that AAI comes with two scripts for reporting and job stream management in AutoSys and CA7. In the early days of AAI, we released these scripts to meet the essential needs of those user communities. It's a good idea to familiarize yourself with them. They're a solid baseline for your learning experience. The first mode of use is interactive. You connect to the server using the utility, log into the server, and you can start submitting commands. The utility is found in the batch folder of the installation directory. On Unix, we use the run.pl command, and on Windows, we use the run.bash-i lib/jaws.py command. This sets up a prompt. From there, you can log in with the login command. Empty brackets invokes the default admin and password ID. You'll be able to specify other users. Once you're on the prompt, you simply type in the command to add business areas, add users, edit job streams, or something else. The other mode of use relies on batch scripts. You can code more advanced procedures which can blend AAI and system coding standards to form more complete batch processes. You run them on a command line. You use run.pl and the name of the script for Unix, or run.bat for Windows. The process varies based on what you're trying to do. Oftentimes you'll import the system module and then the AAI JAWS module, and then you'll log in. Then you submit statements using try and finally blocks to log out. Since AAI CLI is Python based, all of our commands require brackets and tuple parameters. This is by no means a comprehensive list of commands, but we thought it would be useful to show the main groups of AAI functions affected by CLI. If you're looking for syntax details, it's best to refer to the manual or use the help command. We have commands for basic management, change password, exit, access to help pages for a specific command, log in and log out. We can manage users, add, copy, delete, update, and more. We can manage business areas, add, delete, update, and so forth. We can retrieve information regarding jobs in the scheduler. Obviously, you won't be able to update job definitions in the schedule itself, but you'll be able to access much of the information for schedule jobs, like frequency and most recent run. AAI offers a complete set of commands for job streams. You can add, modify, delete, trigger runs, access run information, and a lot more. The same goes for reports. With CLI, you can check reports, run, save, delete, and more. There are functions for operations management, for example, if you wanted to recalculate averages or if you're not in a position to access the function through a client. Finally, we have date and time options, more specifically in set date and set time formats. There are other command groups to manage user sessions if you wanted to disconnect a user, for example. You can also create and manage user domains as long as they're JAWS-based, but you wouldn't be able to manage an LDAP domain. You can also manage schedulers, access predicted duration information, conditions, properties, and so forth. These are less common. Let's provide some examples of command submission. Later, we'll demo some of these on the system. To access help pages, you simply type help in the command. If you want to display a full or partial list of objects, domains, connections, or something else, you enter the command, say schedulers, and the information in parentheses. Finally, we're showing how to log into a remote server with connection specifics if you don't want to use the basic admin account. Here are some examples of functional commands. We can add a business area, basic requirements, and name and parents. Remember to insert spaces between each value. For scripts, we import the sys module and then the JAWS module and log in. Then we encapsulate our statement in the try block. Blocks need to be indented. For indents, avoid tabbing. Simple spaces will always work. These are common Python coding standards. AAI CLI is able to parse through arguments passed on the command line. We have two parsing commands. The first is straightforward. The params.loginwithparams command lets you pass login parameters prior to submitting a script. This guarantees that you're able to submit batches with the appropriate account information. In this example, we're running a login script called loginscript.py. We specify the server, the user ID, and passwords. The script contains two important lines. First, the import params module, which is necessary to parse through the parameters, and second, the actual parsing command. The result shows that you're logged in with your accounts. We will demo this later in the module. The second parsing command is params.getParams. Again, this is a different method for parsing, which excludes all login parameters. It's able to parse two distinct parameter types. First, standalone value arguments, and second, a pair made of two terms, a keyword and a value. We have a script. We import the JAWS and params modules. We're also using the params.loginwithparams command to log in, as we explained in the previous slide. Then we use the getParams command with two variables, argsv and kwv. The parameters will be submitted on the command line and stored in these two variables. Then we have two statements for each set of parameters. We'll display the value stored in argv from the arg methods as standalone parameters. We build a text string starting with arg : and then reference the standalone value through a for statement. In the second block, we itemize the contents of kwv with a keyword and value and build a text string with param : and value : which reference the param and val methods. Remember that your keywords and values should be single-spaced, and your keywords should be preceded by dashes. The result shows two standalone arguments from the arg method and the two sets of keyword and values from the iteritems methods. We start on the command prompt and cd to the batch directory. We find our two executables in the batch directory, run.bat and run.pl. This enters the CLI interactive mode. To invoke help, simply type help and the name of the command. Using login in this matter logs into the server using the default admin and password identifier. This adds a business area called reporting under Parents BA Analysis. This displays the full list of schedulers connected to AAI. We've created a script. Let's see what's in it. This imports the appropriate modules, then logs into the server with the default admin identifier, then uses the try block to add a business area and the finally block to log out. This is the script that contains the params login with params command we described earlier. We're logged into server AAI with user1 and user1's passwords. This is how we use the params.getParams command as we explained it earlier in the module. We can change all of the values to show how that works.